A radio show host in Seattle called Paul Gallant.
You are definitely living in the hindsight world today, Paul.
Do you feel there's been a consistent theme with the interceptions?
I think every interception really has a different story.
I was just kind of curious what Paul gets to see.
You got f***ing grow, mother. Are you kidding me?
Paul Gallant, what the hell is wrong with you?
Hello and welcome aboard another edition of the Gallant Says podcast, available live on Twitch and YouTube, but also available wherever you get your podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. Don't know why I went in that order. It is 11:36 Central Time on Tuesday, October 11th, 2022. I thought that I'd already seen the best baseball game I will ever see in my life when the Houston Astros and Los Angeles Dodgers played one another in Game 5 of the 2017 World Series. But I did not see that game in person. I remembered watching that game in the Sports Radio 610 in Houston studios right after the Texans and Seahawks had played earlier in the game. If you're from Seattle, you might have remembered that one where Deshaun Watson and the Texans, Watson a rookie, went on the road and played extremely well. And I remembered feeling more excited about that because of the future with Deshaun Watson, only to find out 2 days later that he tore his ACL. But the Astros would go on to win those World Series. The game that I just saw in person, though, was out of fucking control. The Seattle Mariners, they kicked Justin Verlander's ass for a couple of innings to a point where I found myself thinking, damn, I don't know what to make of these Astros anymore. It's been a couple of years. I haven't seen them in the playoffs in a while. Are they going to be able to bounce back from this? They're not hitting great. They're not taking advantage of the opportunities that they're getting. It's 6-2 in the fourth. I mean, there's plenty of time left. But then that Eugenio Suarez home run, and sorry if I butchered the name. I have not been covering the Mariners on a daily basis, and I read the name and I say, Eugenio. Once he hit that home run to give the M's a 7-3 lead, I thought for sure that game was done. And yet it wasn't. The Astros rallied. They won 8-7. TJ Duso 6 on YouTube comments, oh, what the fuck is this? I got some sort of pop-up going. You know what? Of course. It's fucking ESPN. ESPN, go fuck yourself. Can we stop with these autoplay videos that pop on anything? I have a couple of things ready to go. You move from one tab to another, and all of a sudden that happens. Anyway, no one cares. Thank you for the shameless commercial. Where the fuck was I? It's been a long day. I got my phone pickpocketed at the Austin City Limits Festival in Austin on Saturday. I was without my phone until about the 8th inning today. I got it in the mail right after work at about 12:15. Couldn't activate it at home. Had to drive to the T-Mobile store. Sat there for an hour and 15 minutes trying to get them to activate it. Then I had to have the phone actually back itself up. That took a while. I got text access at some point in the middle of the 7th inning. Anyway, the Astros rally to win 8-7 with 2 runs in the 8th inning and then 2 runs in the 9th. Alex Bregman knocked home Yordan Alvarez in the 8th with a 2-run home run. And in the 9th inning, somehow the Astros back of the lineup with David Hensley fighting his way on base with an amazing at-bat. An inning that really, I still can't get over just the way that this whole thing went down. And I'm sorry that my mind is all over the place. That commercial definitely rattled me. The way that thing went, I still can't believe that after the bottom of the 7th, where it looked like the Astros were about to start a mini rally, Christian Vasquez gets the single, and Jose Altuve's at the plate with the runner on, and then he grounds into a double play. I thought to myself, man, the ability for the Astros to score 4 runs in an inning just went out the window right there because of some of the guys that were in the lineup a little bit later. But then the 8th inning happens, and, Jeremy Pena hasn't been looking so great, but Yordan Alvarez gets the single, and Alex Bregman homers him home. This is crazy. This is crazy. All I did was scroll down on the same page on ESPN. I'm going to have to figure out a way to stop the autoplay. This is driving me nuts. Maybe I should just not look at ESPN.com. StoneGM206 says, M's blew it. They gave you one. Yep, that is for damn sure. Let's see if it actually starts auto-playing again. How many more times can it do it in a row? And just completely interrupt my train of thought. This is being a disaster of a broadcast thus far. Where the fuck was I? Okay. So, Kyle Tucker strikes out. Yuli Gurriel singles. And then Trey Mancini strikes out. And Trey Mancini's been bad. I thought there, not because of the Mariners' bullpen, but just because they weren't able to string together a bunch of runs in a row, I thought for sure right there that was it. And that's my bad. But then in the 9th inning, after Hensley gets hit by a pitch eventually on the full count, and Altuve strikes out, somehow Jeremy Pena singled. And you're wondering, okay, Altuve struck out, Christian Vasquez grounded out, there's 2 outs. What the hell is going to happen? And for some reason, Scott Service, manager of the Seattle Mariners, his plan all along was going to be putting Robbie Ray in the game to pitch and close the game down. And I want to show you a couple of things here on the twitch.tv/Gallant says. I know, it's been an absolute disaster of broadcast. I'm just going to click out that ESPN link with the autoplay that keeps on playing commercials. Robbie Ray's statistics this year have not been particularly good. And I haven't been watching the Mariners on a nightly basis the way that I was when I was living in Seattle. But here are his season stats. A 3.71 ERA with a 1.19 walks, hits per innings pitched. Not bad, right? We'll go a little bit further. His splits against lefties, it's not like he's a killer. 2.41 ERA with a .91 walks, hits per innings pitched. Away, a 4.69 ERA with a 1.42 walks, hits per innings pitched. Last month, Robbie Ray was fucking awful. He was 0-4 with a 12.31 ERA. I don't know what happened. This is a guy who won a Cy Young Award, but he looked like shit. Then add in the fact that he sucked against the Astros this season. 10 2/3 innings pitched with a 10.97 ERA, 2.84 walks, hits per innings pitched. Okay. Well, I'll go a little bit further. Maybe Robbie Ray's good against Yordan Alvarez. Yordan's a lefty. Lefty-lefty matchup. But Alvarez did get a hit and forced 2 walks against Alvarez earlier in the year. Not a lot to go off of, but Alvarez is fucking great against lefties. His splits this season, he's .321 with a .411 on-base percentage and a .998 OPS against lefties. He's damn good. And you're putting Robbie Ray in, who has sucked this season. There's pretty much zero statistic per Adam Householder, as you're seeing the tweet thread right there, that would have had Yordan Alvarez not being heavily favored against Robbie Ray. And then he goes yard, and that's it. And per the Houston Astros Twitter account, Yordan Alvarez is the first player in postseason history, all postseason history, to hit a walk-off home run with their team trailing by multiple runs. Walk-off 3-run homer. StoneJam206 on the Twitch says you should have walked Alvarez and had Paul Sewald pitch to Alex Bregman. Yeah, you're right. Even though Bregman went yard the inning before, yeah, I don't know why they pitched to Yordan there. He has been hitting the fucking cover off of the ball. I really, for the life of me, cannot figure out why they decided, you know what? Let's pitch to Jordan. And by the way, I'm thankful for it. So that's what happened. But now here's my 2 TED Talks. First, I'm going to start with the Seattle Mariners fans out there, because I'm sure more of you right now are watching me live than perhaps Astros fans. That's seemingly how it has worked on social media for me of late. I know you might have seen that video I put out there, and I'm not trying to explain it away. I'm on a drug right now. The drug is called being a cocky asshole sports fan with a team that enables his bad behavior. We'll talk about how great that feeling is in a second. But I want you to remember something. That was one fucking game. And this is real postseason baseball. You aren't playing the fucking Toronto Blue Jays anymore. And it's not meant to besmirch what you did against the Toronto Blue Jays. But this is the Houston Astros. This is the best team in baseball over the last 5 years. Cheating, no cheating, whatever you want to say, that's not disputable to me. They are the biggest of boys. And you held your own. It is not a one-game playoff. If it was, this would fucking suck, and I wouldn't have put that out there. I wouldn't have. That wouldn't have been nice. I like Mariners fans a lot. I feel like you guys, for the most part, got along with me. We had some fun times together. Mainly all of them were over the 2021 season until I got shit canned. All I'm saying is this. Move on. This is not a catastrophic Seattle loss yet. It could be. There's no denying that. But you got to shake this one off. Playoff baseball is the best because there are so many moments like this where you are going to be biting your fingernails off. How do you think the people in Toronto felt with that comeback that you guys had? This shit happens. And you got to get used to it. You got to grow some thick skin here. And I realize you haven't been through it before. I sent that video out to a text line that features a bunch of friends of mine, many of whom work in the sports media industry. And they were pissed. I don't blame them. I don't. I empathize. I've always been rooting for teams that are damn good. It's the Patriots before. Now it's the Astros. And while I do want to see the Mariners do well, if I got to pick between the two, I got to pick the one that's making me money. Being a little bit of a whore on one side, a slut on the other side when it comes to baseball, forgive me. You got to move on from this one. You can't let this one linger. I know you've been through a lot of shit as a baseball fan with that team and their awful history. You got to put it in the past. You played damn well. You really did. And I know that sounds like I'm giving you a moral victory here. You played damn well, though. You really did. I mean, shit. Julio Rodriguez, he was so damn close to a cycle. He was fucking incredible in that game. You got a legit superstar in him. Ty France, he hit well. Jared Kelenic even got a fucking hit off of Justin Verlander. You had some really good performances out there from your batters. And Logan Gilbert, that was a pretty good start, considering who they were going up against. He gave you enough. The Robbie Ray decision, not a great one, but this is an Astros team that has a lot of bats, and you made them work and work and work some more for a historic victory. Now we're going to see how tough this team is. We know they have no quit. We know that they have been badass over the last couple of years. How are they going to handle Thursday's game? Are they going to crumple? Are they going to fold? How's it going to go? But you got to shake this one off. You can't. You got Luis Castillo on the hill. He's getting rest. This series is not over, and there's too much negative talk from you fuckers out there. I love you, and I get it. I do empathize. But you got to move on. They do too. And now I'm going to move on to being a cocky Astros fan again. Oh, my God. I have missed that. And I feel bad because I doubted him. I forgot that it ain't over, ever. And while I was watching the game in my lack of seat at Minute Maid Park, they didn't give us a seat. They gave me a credential. So I just have to stand up on this elevated platform, and I was leaning against a wall so that I could see around the two cameras in front. I'm going to have to try to find a better spot for game 2. But that is just who they are. And it's why it was so easy for me to convert to an Astros fan. I know I'm going to sound like the worst, right? Oh, you probably like Duke and the Yankees and insert all the other good teams. I know it does sound that way. I grew up a Patriots fan. What can I say? It kind of ruined winning for me to a degree. You win so much, you take things for granted, but you also appreciate true greatness. People in Houston didn't like that I liked the Golden State Warriors more than I liked the Houston Rockets. Sorry, they play good basketball that's actually entertaining to watch, that involves defense and moving the ball around as opposed to a bunch of isolation bullshit featuring traveling and a whole lot of other stuff that I just can't stand. James Harden. I couldn't do it with the Texans really either. I'm still waiting for the Texans to earn my respect, let alone my love. The Astros won it over really quickly. Yeah, casual baseball fan, because this is the shit that you just expect from them on a regular basis. They're never out of a game. And I doubted for a second, and I feel guilty about it. You just can't. Not with this team. You expect them to bounce back no matter the situation. And I thought to myself, the lineup's a little bit different. Jeremy Pena, maybe he can't fill the shoes of Carlos Correa. Trey Mancini's been a disappointment since he's been acquired. They don't have Michael Brantley. There does seem to be a big hole in the Astros lineup. You have questions about Justin Verlander as a pitcher in the postseason. I highlighted it on this morning's show. We're recording this on a Tuesday night. It's 11:52 p.m. Twitch.tv/Gallant says he struggled, and he struggled again. And I know he's looked great this regular season, but he's had some postseason issues, and they're still able to overcome it. The guy who's going to win the Cy Young Award at age 39 pitches horribly. I'm not 100% sure what the reason was, but, everyone on the Mariners was turning on that ball against him, and they overcome it. Resilient, tough, dominant. Stone Jam 206 says, we beat Verlander and still lost. Well, think about it from this perspective. The next guy on the hill for the Houston Astros, if you are a Seattle Mariners fan, is a guy by the name of Framber Valdez. He's had a great regular season. He had a long streak of quality starts. He actually set the major league record for quality starts in a season. But what happened to him the last time you saw him in the postseason? 4 or 5 games, he pitched awful. If you're the Mariners, that offense should be feeling great, despite not hitting particularly well in the regular season. I'm just saying, this is the real challenge. This is the real deal. If you're able to pull this one off, you're going to remember it forever. You got to move on from this one. It is, in principle, a best-of-5 game series. You still have 2 losses left. It's not over yet. Now, do I think you're going to win? No, I don't. This is going to be a tough one for any team to bounce back from, let alone a young team that just made the playoffs for the first time, that was probably riding the high of, first off, just having a 7-3 lead late on the Astros, but also rallying back against the Toronto Blue Jays. This is going to be difficult to overcome, and you got a day to just sit back and stew on it before you get back out on the field. But that day actually might be good to collect your thoughts. Imagine if it was within 24 hours where you have to go back out there and you have to overcome that. So enough with the woe is me bullshit. Enough with the sympathy for yourself. Enough with the, this shit happens. This is how postseason baseball works. Astros fans have been through it. Series against the Washington Nationals in 2019, the World Series. The series against the Tampa Bay Rays, where they found themselves in this massive hole. They're able to bring it back to, 3-3, but then they can't get it done in the final game. You've got in the World Series against the Braves. Same thing. The Braves were just better. It happens. Postseason baseball is the best baseball. It's so much different than the regular season sport, but it's going to make you, lose a couple of years along the way. It's hard. Get over it. And if you're an Astros fan, shit, this is just an incredible run, and I hope you appreciate every second of it that you have. It's not to say that baseball was absolutely terrible when I was out in Seattle, I actually enjoyed myself watching the Mariners, even in 2020 in the pandemic year. They were scrappy at the very least, but I wasn't there for 2 years of it. And I feel like I missed out. I mean, this is history that you're witnessing right now. And you take it for granted, but you get to be a cocky asshole because, either you have a job that has you near this team, me, your parents happen to have sex in this random part of the country and had you as a kid here. There might be someone listening right now, watching right now. But it's incredible. It really is. I'm blown away that I got to witness that in person. I wish the seats would have been a little bit better, but beggars can't be choosers. We of the liberal media, we don't have it that bad. So anyway, twitch.tv/Gallant says, I'm trying to make this show happen a little bit earlier in the day. This is a little bit late for my taste. I still have some prep to do for tomorrow's show. I've just been procrastinating this over and over again. And I was doing a little digging. On pickpocketing because I had my phone pickpocketed from my person at a festival on Saturday. And I thought to myself, is this a regular occurrence? I guess it is. Take a look up on CBSAustin.com. This is a story from last year at ACL. Austin police arrest 2 men for pickpocketing cell phones at ACL. They recovered, it doesn't say how many that they recovered in this article, but they found several. An article from April 11th of this year, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Patrons attending a South Florida music festival may have gone home with some things missing. Police officers in Fort Lauderdale said Saturday that they arrested 3 men for pickpocketing cell phones from patrons at the Tortuga Music Festival. They found 24 phones on the men who were facing charges of grand theft. ACL report from October 8th of 2018. Austin police report rash of pickpocket thefts at ACL Festival. Stone Jam 206 on the twitch.tv/Gallant says, a leather vest will fix that. Maybe I should have worn a leather vest. I was wearing, both days, a basketball jersey and shorts. I looked festive. Some would argue I looked gay. Maybe that's how the pickpocket was actually able to distract me. So I'm looking up details about pickpockets. And I saw an article in the New Yorker. It's about this guy by the name of Apollo Robbins. Kind of a douchey name. Anyway, Robbins is what you would call a for show pickpocket. This article is about 10 years old. A Pickpocket's Tale, the spectacular thefts of Apollo Robbins. He does this theatrically. What he does is he'll have an event and a bunch of people will be there. He'll walk through the crowd, smile, nod. He's a little handsy. Time to time, he'll let his fingertips graze someone's pocket, a technique called fanning. He can determine whether or not a person has a cell phone, keys, maybe some cash. He takes inventory, makes some site maps, gets a feel for who the people around him are. And he's a master of this. There's actually a video online, and we're going to show it for you right now. If you watch the show, twitch.tv/Gallant says, or you can watch it on YouTube, youtube.com/Paul Gallant, you will see Apollo Robbins fucking with a guy at a show.
Squeeze it tight. Do you feel the poker chip in your hand? I do. Would you be surprised if I could take it out of your hand? Say yes? Very. Good. Open your hand. Thank you very much. I'll cheat if you give me a chance. Make it harder for me. Just use your hand. Grab my wrist, but squeeze. Squeeze firm. Did you see it go? No. No, it's not here. Open your hand. See, while we're focused on the hand, it's sitting on your shoulder right now.
And if you watch it, you notice that he put it on his shoulder. I've watched it back several times. This guy's fantastic at just misdirecting people and doing things while he misdirects them. Let's watch a little bit more.
Go ahead and take it off. Now, let's try that again. Hold your hand out flat, open it up all the way. Put your hand up a little bit higher, but watch it close there, Joe. See, if I did it slowly, it'd be back on your shoulder. Joe, we're going to keep doing this till you catch it. You're going to get it eventually. I have faith in you. Squeeze firm. Squeeze. You're human. You're not slow. It's back on your shoulder. You were focused on your hand, that's why you were distracted. While you were watching this, I couldn't quite get your watch off. It was difficult. Yet you had something inside your front pocket. Do you remember what it was?
Money?
Check your pocket, see if it's still there. Is it still there? Oh, that's where it was. Go ahead and put it away.
He just
We're just
stole
shopping.
his
This
watch
trick's more about the timing,
and showed
really.
it behind
I'm going
him.
to try to push it inside your hand. Put your other hand on top for me, would you? It's amazingly obvious now, isn't it? It looks a lot like the watch I was wearing, doesn't it?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Oh, thanks.
Crazy. Now, this guy is a magician, essentially, when it comes to pickpocketing people. But I'm trying to think of when someone might have used some sort of misdirection tactics at a festival. Then I realized, oh, yeah, I was at a festival, and I was dancing my face off, and I, drank a lot and other things. But it definitely happened, because I remember having it, and then all of a sudden, we were walking away from, I guess, the Diplo concert, and I reached for my phone because I saw the highlights of how the Mariners had rallied back. And it's like, oh my God, I got a tweet about this. Akalon says on Twitter. And the next thing I know, yeah, there wasn't anything there. A real bummer. Pickpocketing, that's fascinating. To make a life out of that. Stone Jam 206 says you just have to bump into you. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's probably not that difficult to make it happen. But I feel like there were some people out there, and it might have been the people who were going up to me and asking, hey, are you gay? I mean, that's kind of distracting. Not going to lie. And not that there's anything wrong with that. Be gay. But multiple people ask me that over the course of the weekend, and I'm thinking to myself, that is something that is rather distracting because you're trying to think of a way to like politely decline and say like, oh, I'm flattered, but like, no, I'm not into you. That's plenty of time to potentially have you off of your wits for a second for somebody to come from the side or from behind and swipe the phone out. I had it in my back pocket. That is on me too. The pocket did have a button that goes over it, like one of those fold over buttons, and there was a zipper. Clearly that's not enough. So I just got the phone back. Huzzah. Fantastic to have it. Please don't pickpocket it off me in the near future. Anyway, big thanks to everybody who tuned into tonight's edition of the Gallant Says podcast. We are trying to make this a daily occurrence. We haven't quite figured out the best time to do it, but we will be doing these after the Astros and Mariners games that are played this series because, I mean, who better to talk about it than a guy who's covered both teams in the recent past. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, SoundCloud. You can also subscribe to my channels to watch the show and see the pastiness in action. YouTube.com/Paul Gallant or twitch.tv/Gallant Says. So long, farewell. It is already Wednesday. Have yourselves a wonderful Wednesday, and you'll hear me again on Wednesday night. Peace.